Cancer new moon. Rest and be thankful. And I just want to say here before I launch into this reading of the Cancer new moon that the phrase rest and be thankful comes from midwifery, and it refers to the period in childbirth when the dilation has begun and has reached a certain point, and sometimes what happens at that point is contractions stop. There's a lull in contractions. And so they call that phrase rest and be thankful. Eventually the contractions will begin again. So that's what I had in mind when I used that phrase. So Cancer new moon, rest and be thankful. The energy of this chart speaks of those momentous moments in life when we have successfully completed one stage of development and stand on the edge of a new, completely unknown stage. The Cancerian symbolism of the new moon and its keen decile to Pluto speak of the initiation of a birth cycle and the path before us beckoning us into a new dimension of reality, one we have never experienced before and for which we have no rule book. But the time in this moment is to rest, to enjoy, to appreciate what we have accomplished, to celebrate all that we have already become. The Sabian symbol, a group of people relaxing after a satisfying, lavish feast. And I just want to quickly say here that that is not a direct quote. That's my interpretation of what I read about the Sabian symbol for 15 degrees of Cancer. The Sabian symbol, a group of people relaxing after a satisfying, lavish feast, speaks of this time of rest and highlights the celebratory energy of these moments, the celebrations marking the spot of this great transition and also providing a preparatory pause before entering an entirely new reality. And I want to say here that where I'm getting this from, what I'm thinking about when I'm talking about this whole idea of a new reality, is years ago I read about 10 pages of a Piaget book. I've never been able to complete any of his books, but I read about 10 pages once. It might have been 20, but I think it was 10. And he was talking about how it's this amazing thing or this magical thing that happens that when a child reaches a new stage of development, suddenly it's like the entire world changes, like the entire reality of that child changes. And it was always there, but it was like because the child was in a different developmental stage, it didn't have access to it. It didn't notice it. It didn't see it. It was busy doing what it was doing in that other developmental stage, paying attention to what it was paying attention to there. And then you reach this new developmental stage, or this wave of new development comes and sweeps us into a new stage of development, you could say, and suddenly the whole world changes. Our entire reality changes. So that's where I'm getting that from. That's where that idea is coming from. So I'll just read that sentence again. The Sabian symbol, a group of people relaxing after a satisfying, lavish feast, speaks of this time of rest and highlights the celebratory energy of these moments, the celebrations marking the spot of this great transition, and also providing a preparatory pause before entering an entirely new reality. Consider the child entering puberty. What was is no longer. What is ahead is unknown. At this moment, this morphing child stands on a precipice, unable to turn back, unable to resist the pull of this mysterious force rising up within it and compelling it forward. In some cultures, this transition is marked with a great celebration, a sending off of sorts into a new developmental and social reality. Bar mitzvah came to mind for me. Although I'm not Jewish and do not know the details of this tradition, it arose in my mind as an archetype for this idea of a celebration of a meaningful life milestone and transition of which the energy of this new moon speaks. For another such life moment, think of the student walking across the graduation stage. Something great was achieved and something equally great, though completely unknown, lies ahead. Just as is so for the child who reaches puberty and the fetus who readies for the birth canal. The stage on which we walked on graduation day will be disassembled. The dorm rooms no longer available to us. The school no longer there to structure and support our path. Once we reach this point, everything that was falls away, just as it is meant to. If it didn't, we couldn't continue to grow, couldn't continue our evolution of becoming. All we can do in these moments between is trust the inner urgings to go where we have never been before, to let our inner beings turn us towards the rapids before us, readying us for entry. The purpose of those rapids, like the purpose of the contractions in the birth canal, is to prepare us for the new environment, an environment that was previously unviable for and unavailable to us, but which now summons us. This new environment is far more expansive than what we have known before, offering exponential new potential for freedom, for learning, for growing, and for evolving, just as each previous stage did. For now, though, the time is to rest and to celebrate all that we have already become and all that we have to look forward to. The rest will take care of itself, just as it does in any new birth. For a time frame, on January 13th, 2025, EST, we will have a Cancer full moon. At that time, the light will be shining on what we have become in the time between now and then. If you keep a journal, the time of this new moon might be a period to look back to when reflecting on what is going on for you during the full moon phase in January. And I just want to end by saying that this idea of the full moon being referencing back to the new moon of the same sign 6 months previously, that comes from, I got that from Gina Cadlick's work, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing either of those names right, but it's Jeanna, and last name is Kadlec, Gina Cadlick. And she writes a Substack called Astrology for Writers, and she talks about this this connection between the new and full moon 6 months apart. So I just want to let you know that. And that's it. That is the new moon reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there was something here worthwhile for you and helpful for you. And remember, these are my ideas, my way of thinking about things, and whatever actually arises for you is what is in fact true for you. Always remember that. In other words, it's not my words that matter. It's not my take that matters. It's not my perspective that matters. What matters is what happens for you. Okay, take care.